This tutorial is going to show you how to make your own link. Not that kind. A symbolic link is a way of taking files and folders from one area of your computer and moving them to another, putting a shortcut in the original location so that programs and anything that needed to be able to reference that at the particular spot that it was originally at is still able to do so. This is commonly useful if you have a program that had to be installed on the C drive or is cumbersome to uninstall and reinstall and you want to move it somewhere else. Let's take a look at what this entails with LibreOffice. So if I open LibreOffice Writer, we can see that it opens right up. I can start typing. I'm going to go ahead and exit it. And if I right click on the executable, I can go ahead and choose Properties, and I can see that this is located in C Program Files LibreOffice, so on and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and click on File Explorer, and I'm going to go to my C drive. And I'm going to go to Program Files, and LibreOffice, this is the folder that we know it exists in, so I'm going to right click, cut, and then I'm going to go to the drive that I want to move this stuff to. In this case, it's my data drive, my D drive. So I'm going to go into Program Files on here, and I'm going to right click and paste. I'm going to go ahead and give it admin rights, otherwise it's going to have trouble moving all this stuff from Program Files. And now we can see the LibreOffice folder is on my D drive. So we still need to actually create that symbolic link back in the original directory, which was on the C drive in Program Files. Now there is no LibreOffice folder anymore, so this is where we're going to go to the Start menu, search for CMD, and run as an administrator. Some versions of Windows require this, so I would just recommend doing it. In here, we're going to type in mklink space /d space, and then we're going to go ahead and grab the directory that was originally at. So if I click up here in the path that we went to, we can see it's C Program Files. I'm going to add that last little bit of what was there originally to it. In this case, it was LibreOffice. It's not there anymore, but I just need this on my clipboard. I'm going to highlight that whole path, and I'm going to copy it. If I try and go there right now, it's not there. Again, that's okay. Over in here, I'm going to do a quotation mark, and then I'm going to right-click to paste that directory path, and then another quotation mark. Then I'm going to hit space, and now I'm going to take the directory that those files got moved to. So I'm going to go up to this PC, I'm going to go to Data, I'm going to go into Program Files, and then I'm going to go into LibreOffice. Again, clicking up here, I can simply right-click and copy this whole path, and then I need to put it in quotation marks again. The reason why you have to do this is because if you have a file path that has a space in it, Windows doesn't know what to do with that unless you encapsulate or enclose the entire thing you're saying in quotation marks. If I go ahead and do this, that's done. It created the symbolic link. So if I go back to this PC on the C drive into Program Files, we can see here, if I search for Libre, there's a shortcut for it now. If you ever had to undo this, you can literally just delete the shortcut and move the files back from the drive that you had moved them to, in this case the D drive, over to the C drive. Let's see if LibreOffice still runs now that I've moved it all and created a symbolic link. Yeah, looks like it runs just fine. Now, some programs might not install on the C drive. For example, very rarely you might find them in app data. To get there easily, I would do %, app data, %, and that's going to take you to your roaming folder. If I go up a level, and then I click on local, and let's say I simply want to move the first thing that I have in here that starts with a P. So I'm going to say, okay, I know packages is generic. I'm going to move this thing that starts with a P. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to cut, and once again, I'm going to go over to my other drive. It could be a physical disk. It could be a flash drive. I wouldn't recommend that for a program, but again, it can pretty much be any drive. And in this case, I'm going to put it under Program Files again, and right-click, paste. So now that I've moved my P for program over to my data drive, I need to create a symbolic link for that thing to work again. Again, I'm going to go back to command prompt. You can get to it by hitting CMD from the start menu and running it as an admin. And I'm going to use the mklink command again. So mklink /d space c : / in my case, users, Alex, app data, local, and program. And on here, I need to use quotation marks because I moved my P for program into a location that has a space in its name. Notice I didn't do that over here because the original directory path did not have any spaces like the ones up here did. Quotation mark, D : / program files / program. And if I go ahead and do that, again, my symbolic link was just created. So if I go back to app data and I go to local, my little program file now has a shortcut for it. And I would bet you that whatever this thing that I did that for would probably work just fine if I launched it, but I'm not going to. I'll leave that up to you if this is relevant to you. So just to recap, all we're really doing is making a shortcut in a special way where the program doesn't really know that anything has changed. mklink is the tool that does that for us, and the syntax we use, or the way that you type out this command, is mklink space / d, and then your first argument and your second argument. Your first argument is where the files originally were, what folder they were in, and your second argument is where they have gone to. You have to keep in mind that you need quotation marks around each of those arguments if they have spaces in their file paths. And in this case, we are assuming that we are starting with stuff that was on the C drive and moving it to the D drive. If your drive letters are different, you would put them in respectively. So if you were starting with something that was installed on the E drive, this would be E. If you were transferring it to the C drive, this would be C. So whatever drive letters you're using, if they're different than mine, you would put yours in there. And again, if you need to undo this, all you have to do is delete the symbolic link that was created, which you saw in the LibreOffice example, and put the original folder where it originally was. That's all.